we'll just.
Welcome to the Weasel. Welcome to the Weasel. Whip out your dicks and shove them in your ass. Welcome to the Weasel with Mike and Jonah.
Also, I'd like to apologize for the network issues I had this week. I essentially had to re-upload the normal episode 3 times and the YouTube video twice. It was consistent of, I think it equated to about 27 or 28 hours of uploading time all up.
Yikes.
Yeah,
God damn, son.
not great. So yeah, that's how I'm going. I didn't even ask
But for
them.
the viewer, you'll notice that Miken has a snazzy new haircut.
Yeah, it's pretty snazzy. I was saying before, I look like a boyish reporter.
Yeah, you do kind of give off like Clark Kent vibes.
Get a little swoop on the forehead.
Well,
Yeah.
excuse me, guys. Maybe you shouldn't be throwing tanks at each other, guys.
I fucking hate Superman, dude. What a fucking white bread.
Yeah, I showed Janie a photo of you earlier, and she was like, he kind of looks like a hipster, and I was like, yeah, he gets that a lot.
Yeah, I get that a lot. If it's not hippie, it's hipster for sure. Yeah, that's okay.
Mm-hmm. But also, we have our dear friend Brianna here today.
Here I am.
Brianna, she's back.
Cheers.
She's
Welcome
back.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I literally messaged Brianna today, and I was like, hey, do you want to go to brunch and then do the podcast? And she goes, oh.
That's not what I said.
Maybe.
You said, do you want to go to brunch? And I said, yeah, I would be down. And you're like, oh, I thought you would say no. And then you're like, well, it's also pod day. And then I was like, oh, I'll play that one by ear. But then I had a couple of gin bevies. Here I am.
Yeah, she's decided today
Today's a
to
gin day.
try out gin.
Oh, right.
Which is interesting.
Yeah. How do you like it, Brianna? Have you had many
don't.
different ones? You don't?
No, I feel like I've probably only had gin ever in my life 5 times.
Yeah, I'm probably around 5 myself.
And it's always like a panic order for me. It's like, oh, I don't know what to order. Gin and tonic. And I don't drink gin and tonics.
Keep in mind today, like, we sent the server away because we didn't know what we wanted yet. And she still panic ordered.
Yeah. Well, I ordered it was called a Crazy Girl Collins. So I guess it was like their take on a Tom Collins.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't terrible. But then I was like, I guess if I'm going to drink gin all day, I should figure out if I'm not going to be making these drinks with mint leaves in them at Jonah's house. So I was like, I guess I need to like just do a G&T.
What's a Tom
and it
Collins?
Was bad. It's gin, club soda, simple syrup, and like lemon juice.
Oh,
but
okay.
the one that I ordered at this restaurant, it had like mint in it.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, this isn't terrible. I'll order a gin and tonic to see if I just like that, and it was terrible. But now I'm just drinking gin and club soda and a little bit of lime.
Is it going down a little easier?
Yeah, the gin and tonic tasted like chemicals to me, and this tastes less. This is just this. I told Jonah earlier. It kind of tastes like how a Christmas tree smells, but not in a good way.
Just like a hint of bleach.
Yeah, it's like it's like Pine Sol.
Oh, yeah. Nice. That's the power of Pine Sol, baby.
Yeah.
Well, there's the other thing too is there's lots of different types of gins, but there's also lots of different types of tonic waters as well. And there's some out there that are really nice by themselves, like really like more of a bright, not so much of a strong, pungent flavor of tonic water. It's got a bit more of a citrusy taste to it. But then like you got to get a gin you actually enjoy, because if it's just straight like Gordon's Gin, shit's horrible, man. It tastes terrible. But if you get like what's that one fucking?
Did you ever play that game? I think it's Fallout 4. Wherever, like the very beginning of the game, it's like the fucking nuclear shelter salesman comes to your door, and then there's an option of you can just hit like X and hit it's like doubt, and it's just this guy's face. It turned into a meme, and I'm doubting what you're saying right
I
now.
can't believe you would pronounce it as Mimi. For one, you fucking are a horrible person. Two, you're also wrong. There's lots of different types of gins and tonics, and there's some that are really nice, and you should try them because
But-
they're delicious.
Yeah, no, that's like, hey, you can like I can have a whiskey and I'd be like that. Like, if you put a flight of whiskey in front of me, I could drink everyone and be like, that's whiskey. That's pretty good. I like whiskey. That's whiskey.
Yeah, but whiskey is meant to be enjoyed by itself. For one, that's how whiskey is supposed to be enjoyed.
What is gin?
Gin is not. Gin is a drink that you mix with other things to make cocktails with. You don't just
To
drink
mask
straight
the
gin
flavor
unless you're
of
doing
the-
tasting of gin. I mean, which people
To mask
do. I
the
don't know
flavor
if
of the
that's-
tree bark. Yeah.
Well, I mean, back to the whiskey thing though. Like, my dad drinks bourbon like not every day, but like he drinks bourbon like that's the only alcohol he drinks.
He definitely drinks it every day.
No, it's probably like 4 or 5 days out of the week though. But like,
What days does he take off?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
When-
like, he
Wednesday.
wouldn't- my dad wouldn't just be like, "Oh, like any bourbon is fine," you know. Like, if I offered my dad $30 bourbon, he would be like, that's gross. I'm not gonna drink it."
What is your dad only drinking? Like, what does your dad
Very,
drink?
like, nice. I don't even know the names of them.
Hmm.
I've literally never heard of them. I go home
Fancy
and I'm like, "What is
bourbons.
this?" Fancy bourbons.
Your dad is such an interesting person.
He is.
We should get him on the podcast and talk to him about bourbon because I
he
love
won't say
bourbon.
a word.
I
He's
met
a
him.
man of few.
I met him. He's a very reserved man, but in his day, he did own and operate a strip club. Yes,
Yeah,
Oh.
my dad back in his youth was quite the character.
was
Yeah,
a
so
manager or an
he,
owner?
He managed a strip club for a
Okay.
while. He left home at 16. He grew weed in the basement. He would like drive to Canada, like in high school. Just he'd skip school. They drive to Canada to go drink and like do casino things and stuff.
Snort
And then
maple-
he
snort maple
had
syrup off
kids and got
strippers' asses.
married, and now his joys are nice bourbon and golf.
Man,
Is
he's
he a
really
good
simmered
golfer?
down.
I mean, I think he's a decent golfer. He's in like a league, which I guess doesn't say whether he's good or not, but
Does
he
he,
golfs
like-
every week.
Does he like hit your mom when he has a bad stroke?
No, no. No, for the record, my dad has never hit my mom.
No, that's good. That's good. I wouldn't want that
No,
to be
my
on
mom
a podcast.
wears the pants in that relationship.
Oh,
My
true.
dad's just kind of along for the ride.
In their relationship or life?
Life. think, you know.
Oh.
Well, when I went home for Christmas for a couple weeks, and I was talking to my mom about my dad, or I guess like if your spouse dies, like would you get remarried? And my mom was like, I don't think so. Like, I'm good. But she's like, your dad. Oh, we were talking about her life insurance policy more time. So I guess we were like talking about her dying, and she's like,
Your
your dad
dad
would for sure have to get remarried. Like he
He's
needs
can't take
someone
care of
He's
to,
himself
useless.
anymore.
yeah, he needs someone to cook for him. He's gotten so used to like my mom doing all of the cooking and the
Wow, where
housework.
does okay, so, like this situation happens like this happens all the time in life where like a spouse dies and like the other person's completely dependent on them. Is there some kind of group that you can join to meet other people with dead spouses, and
It
then you
used
could
to
just
be-
like, hey,
I'm
let's just
sure.
It used to be Plenty of Fish, dude.
oh,
Yeah, that used to be like that used to be
plenty of fish where old people fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, it used to be like
Yeah,
I think when it
there's-
first started it was like almost like christiandating.com. It was almost like that, but not as, Christian.
You mean farmers
Bit dirty.
only?
There's that one too. That definitely ain't religious, I can tell you that right now. Right, yeah. Shit
Do
get a
you
little bit
mean
fucking saucy.
Do you mean groups for like like for like let's say like a group of like widowers, so like husbands who've lost wives to like connect, or people
Mm-mm.
to date.
No, like this is a pretty exclusive group. Not that exclusive, I guess. But you can only join it if your spouse has died
But
and you're
Is it like are you talking
let's
about
say
like a
you're
social
above.
club, like where y'all go bowling once a month, or you talking about like a
what's
therapy
the
group?
purpose?
Maybe you could bowl to meet someone new, but
Like, is the purpose of this to find someone else to marry, or just to like find a group of people that you relate to in this
the
specific
purpose is
sense?
to survive. Is to be like, oh shit, I don't know how to do my own laundry anymore,
I think what you're talking
and I
about is
need
an orgy group.
Well,
old orgy.
I think that's also why
Mm.
people have kids. Where it's like,
What? What?
well, like a lot of people are like, oh, like who's gonna take care of you when you're older? And it's like, oh, your kid. Like I'll have kids, so that's okay.
I very much disagree on this point.
Well, I don't think it's a
Mm.
good reason to have kids, but I think there are people who have kids because they're like, well, maybe not that's not the sole reason they have kids, but it's like a benefit of having kids. They think they'll have kids, but then there are people who like don't talk to their parents, so that's
Yeah,
kind of a moot point.
yeah. I've
but
abandoned both my parents.
I told my mom, I was like, I'll put you in a nursing home, but like I'm not gonna take care of you.
I'm not gonna pay for that either.
Yeah. I used to tell my mom, I was like, you can either choose to go to a nursing home with your friends or to a nursing home with dad, but you can't have both. And she was like, she's like, well, I have to choose dad. And I was like, wrong
Poor choice.
You don't. Yeah.
Oh God. Wait, hold on. This reminds me of your reading you were just telling me about. By the
Oh,
way,
yes.
first of all, I want to check in on your goal. How's your goal going as far as
Oh, yeah, it
Brianna's?
was like 18 books a month or something like that, wasn't it? Something
Close.
ridiculous.
It was
52 a year.
yeah, a book a week was her goal, and she achieved. Sorry, she achieved it
I did.
last year by the
Literally,
skin of your teeth.
Yeah, I finished a book on December 31st. And
It was a children's book, wasn't it?
no, it wasn't
a
actually,
coloring
but
book.
so in December I had to read, I think, like 10 books. And I was like, oh, this is not.
But that's still like you read 40 books before you got to December.
Right.
That's so many fucking books. You know how many books I've read this year?
Zero.
Fucking zero
I gave you
books.
3 books for Christmas.
I know you did. I haven't read any of them. I've been trying to read a book on look how thin that book is.
What is that book?
It's a book on the insurance industry. Fucking
Well,
shoot me.
Well, no
That's
shit, you
your
can't
problem.
read it,
You're
dude.
reading-
It's fucking boring as shit. Find
It's
something you enjoy to
so
read.
fucking boring.
That's the problem. You have to read books that are not.
Yeah, you got to read
Boring
shit
as
that you're
fuck.
interested in. Yeah, things you
Regardless.
want to read
Okay.
about.
So we're now what? We're 7 weeks into the year. Are you 7 books deep?
Let's pull it up. I have an app for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I am. Here we go. So I've read 6 books so far. If I read a book this weekend, then I'll be on track. I was 2 behind. So I read 2 books this week already. And if I read a book, I'm not going to read a book today now, but if I read a book tomorrow, then I'll be on track.
Yeah, she getting fucked up today, boys.
Sod
But yeah,
So
I
what
was
do you?
behind, and I caught up this week.
So what were you reading before? What was the last book you read?
The last book I read, I finished. Yeah, this is the book I finished yesterday. It's called Olive, and the main character's name is Olive, so not super original, but it centers around this group of friends. I think a couple of them knew each other like growing up, and then they met 1 or 2 of them in college. So all these people have been friends for like 10, 15 years, and it's a group of girls, and so 2 of them are married, they have kids, or are having kids. 1 is trying to have kids, and then the other one, the main character, has decided she just doesn't want kids. Like she just broke up with her boyfriend of 10 years because he wants kids and she doesn't. And so it is kind of a story about like how she kind of feels separated from her, 3 best friends, and how like their lives are being filled with
Baby vomit.
Kids.
Yeah, kids and like overtaking them and not having time to like spend with that friend group. Like they all kind of bail on plans at the last minute and stuff like that. And she's
Yeah, there's not a lot of brunches going on.
no brunches. They usually like they go to the same restaurant once a month, and like they haven't been to that restaurant in months because the one girl's pregnant, the other girl's trying to be pregnant, and she's kind of like taking herself out of the group. Like she won't commit to plans or she bails last minute because she's like sad that she can't have a baby and all this stuff. But it's pretty
Okay.
interesting.
Did you ever, when you were reading it, did you draw any parallels to your own life?
I guess like I don't want to have kids. Well, I don't want to birth kids is the thing. Like I think I could get married to someone and if they wanted kids, we could figure that out, but like I know for myself, I never want to be pregnant. I never want to give birth.
Yeah. I know that about you,
Yeah.
and I know that you shouldn't.
Yeah.
But have you ever felt like it's some kind of, and I'm not saying that you should have babies. You're a woman, you should have babies. But like at some point it is some kind of like affront to biology to like deny reproduction. Have you ever felt like that?
No. Like I don't like I guess I just don't care. If it goes
Yeah.
against
Yeah, but I mean like 7th grade science class that are like the purpose of organisms is to reproduce and
I
make
guess
more organisms.
my thought is like the world is overpopulated enough. I don't need to be contributing to that.
I don't think it
Yeah.
is.
But
I don't think it is overpopulated, though, is it? They're
in
talking
my
about
opinion,
now that
there are
it's
too many people.
there's going to be a
don't think so.
decline. There's going to be a mad decline. But I
Well,
mean, that's kind
I
of
think there's a
beside the
decline.
point.
I think there's a decline because people are like, "Oh, I don't have to have kids, and I don't want to have kids." It's
Yeah.
like I think it's like a growing trend that people are like okay with not having kids.
There's a problem in regards to, one, there's a lot of old people.
Right.
2, there's a lot of younger people, particularly women, that are not having kids. Like they're focusing on like careers and da 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 da, blah 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 blah. So then they get past their window and then they're like, oh, like I wanted kids, but now I can't. But there's also a lot of people that are in your shoes as well. They're like, no, I'm good. There's too many
Yeah.
fucking people. But the problem is not the number of people; it's the age distribution amongst the planet. Like, because
Oh.
there's gonna be way too many fucking old people and not enough
Right.
young people to care for
Take
those
care of
old
the old
fucks.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that makes sense.
So die in your beds and piss on yourself.
Well, I
Yeah.
also feel like old people. I feel like this was like old people were having like 8 kids. Like my grandparents were like
Mm.
one, like each of them like one of 8, one of 6, and then my parents are like
Mhm.
one of 3, one of 4, and now I'm one of 3. And so I feel people who are having kids, they're not having 8 kids because that's
I just don't
kind
think
of
that you
crazy.
could personally handle creating a life inside of you.
I am literally terrified of pregnant people. Like I don't
Really?
like looking
Yeah.
at them. I don't like interacting with them. It grosses me out.
Uh-huh.
The thought of that being me, I can't.
Well,
And then the birth. First of all, so I think like growing like as a girl, like growing up, like you always hear people are like, "Oh, pregnancy, it's great, it's blah 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 blah," or like having a baby, it changes you, blah 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 blah. But then like you get older, and I think you kind of realize you're being kind of fed lies. Like my friend, she had a baby.
pregnancy got to blow balls.
It's terrible. Like I have a few friends who have had babies and like, yeah, pregnancy absolutely terrible. It's nothing like they tell you it's gonna be. Like birth is terrible. My friend had to have an emergency C-section and it took her months and months and months to recover.
Yeah, that's like a major surgery.
They literally they cut you open, they take out your intestines, plop them on a table, take the baby out, put your organs back in, and then here's a fun fact I recently learned.
Okay.
A couple weeks after the C-section, you feel this like plop in your abdomen, and that's your organs just plopping back into place because they were all like blah blah, like flubbering around.
That's what I was gonna say too. Like I saw like a like a science GIF diagram of like what happens to like a woman's body as a baby forms and gets bigger, like
Mhm.
over the course of months. And it literally just pushes your fucking organs farther up into your chest and like presses your
Mhm.
bladder and everything else down to make
Ye
space. Like there's
Yeah.
there's
That's
no
why they have to pee
there's
all
no
the time.
baby size space that just naturally exists in your
No.
body.
No, it
Your
takes
organs
over.
have to make room
A
for a
baby,
baby to form.
it's a parasite is what it is. And well, and like the thing is like when you're pregnant, or even like sometimes like when you're not pregnant and like you just get your period or whatever, like you have like cramps in your back, but it's especially when you're pregnant, like your backbones are moving
Yeah.
to be able to give birth.
To fucking open up those hips,
Yeah.
It
baby.
grosses me out. And there's this one girl,
Brianna, by the way, I never want you to have birth. Like
I'm
like
not.
like I will find, but like if you somehow get pregnant, I'm gonna abort that baby for you.
Yeah.
As your
Thank
friend,
you. Thank you.
as your friend, I will push you
I couldn't do it.
downstairs. I will poison your food. I will.
appreciate
I
that.
don't know. Whatever I gotta
We'll do
do.
some googling. Yeah, no, that would be. I couldn't do it. I'm not mentally strong enough for that. I'm not physically strong enough for that, but I'm not mentally.
Okay, but sorry, Mike. Did you
Actually,
have a question? Go on.
it's funny that she said that the babies are parasites because it's exactly right. They are. And they use pheromones to make us not kill them. Right?
Like
Babies
after they're
use
born.
after they're born, babies use pheromones and certain ways of crying to manipulate the human mind so that you don't just fucking neck them when they're screaming their heads off at fucking 2 o'clock in the morning.
I'm stronger
Oh,
than
that's fair.
those baby smells though.
No, you
If
ain't.
I
No,
really
you
want to
ain't.
kill that baby, ain't
Nah.
nothing, no way gonna stop
No,
me.
you ain't, dude. You're gonna when you and Janie finally have a baby, dude, you're gonna look upon that thing and you're gonna be overcome with some kind of love that doesn't make any fucking sense because it's a tiny little fucking alien covered in blood and shit from your wife. But you're gonna love it to death, right? And you won't kill it, dude.
It's
That
not gonna be
baby's already
smell
got you
that
locked
holds me
in,
back.
dude.
You know,
It's
I'll tell you
already
that.
got you locked in, dude. It's
It's
the
not gonna
smell.
be
Yeah, it is,
smell,
dude.
dude.
It's the pheromone. What is it? What do you think
What?
it is? What do you think it is that's going to keep you from killing that kid?
You know, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I think it's. I think I do have that innate drive to reproduce that I was talking about. I think I do have that somewhere, like it inside the fucking brain stem, old lizard brain inside me. I'm like, I gotta fuck. I gotta put fucking more of me out into the world. Like something in there is just
Sure.
like there's that drive certainly. I mean, also, I think that like in a lot of ways, like my dad was so poor raising me that I'm like, oh, I could fucking smash that dad shit.
I'm
Like
gonna
if
prove
that's
you
the bar,
wrong.
like the bar's on the ground, you know.
That's fair, yeah.
Oh,
Well, that's like
yeah.
another thing is like I feel like most people who have kids have like the same thought. They're like, "Oh, I wouldn't do it the same way my parents did." But there are so many ways, like so many subtle ways that you're just like messing your baby up. You know, like
Yeah,
your kid is going to be messed up one way or the other, just like how.
I get that. That's definitely one way to think of it. Is that like there's gonna be quirks that you give your kid because of your own shitty
Right.
personality traits that
Mm.
you might not even know that are affecting it.
Mhm.
But I look at more as like a balancing scale. Like if you do more good than harm, you're a good parent
Sure.
at the end of the day.
Yeah, but that's really
What does it
complicated
depend
because,
on?
like, what is it that decides that's a good or a bad thing? Like, a good example is spanking your kids, right? Like, I was spanked. I got the chocolate when I was a kid. I'm better for it. But another kid put in the exact same situation turns into a fucking shithead or an abuser or, how is it that you decide what balance to use for your specific kid?
That's a good point.
I
I
don't-
never got spanked.
I also never got spanked, but I mean, at some point, like, yeah, it's your kid, and and you have responsibility over that kid. But at some point, I mean, it's still an individual. Like it's going to have its own autonomy to make its own choices, good or bad.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think also it makes a big difference. Like if you're a parent or like a future parent, like if you are like if you're like, oh, okay, we're ready for kids, we're gonna try to like we're gonna start trying to get pregnant versus like surprise,
Surprise, we're super
we're having a
poor
baby,
and in a
we
very
didn't plan on this.
very unhappy relationship, not even
We're
Yeah,
gonna
just my
fix
baby
our
mama.
marriage.
yeah. I think it like if you're like okay, like I'm ready and I want to have a baby, those are probably better parents than
Okay,
surprise. I
well,
feel like no, I was I think I was a surprise, and
surprise,
I
motherfucker.
think my younger brother was also a surprise.
Hard eyes, motherfucker.
Oopsies.
I love that Gray's
Blue
making a
eyes,
feature
I know.
in this episode.
He's like, well, I love parenthood conversations.
Love you to death, dude, but you smell like shit, and I will
Yeah,
sling
this
you
is your
against a wall.
stepson.
I will throw that motherfucker against the wall so fast.
His eyes have been so blue lately.
Those eyes are green.
Why does he
this
smell
is
like
definitely
shit?
blue.
I
Because
don't
he's a
know.
cat and he poops in a box.
He does shit in a box daily.
Right. Does he not
He
clean
doesn't
himself
smell-
afterwards?
I guess he doesn't smell that bad.
Yeah, really, he doesn't smell.
Oh, okay.
But he's not putting off pheromones that keep me from killing him. That's for sure.
No, not like a
You would
baby,
kill a
dude.
cat?
Fuck
Would
yeah.
I would never kill my dogs.
I don't know. Dogs are definitely different. But
Yeah.
I wanted to
I
ask
almost got a
you.
cat last
Let me ask you this: based on the book you read,
Ow.
did you kill him now?
Yeah.
see?
Yeah, one bite, that's all it
He's
takes.
a real bastard. He's a real bastard cat, dude.
Based on the book you read, but also real life events. I mean, Janie and I are starting to get to the point now where we're like seriously adult being like, hey, we should probably have a fucking kid soon.
Right.
How do you feel about that? In the context of like our friendship, how you think that'll change our friendship?
I guess it depends on.
Are you gonna be Auntie Brianna all of a sudden?
No, I'm not even like I've never. My brother has a kid who's a year and a half years old. I have never met it.
Yeah, but you probably like my kid more
Yeah,
than
I think
your
I would.
nephew.
I think I would. I think I would
whatever.
like my kids, or my friends' kids better. I guess I don't know. Well, like it depends on like where I live, because I'm like if I don't live here, then like we're not gonna hang out that often anyway.
Right.
Obviously, but like if I live here and you have a baby, then I think I would still expect we would hang out less because you have a baby, and like that would suck. But like that's how people with babies are.
One, I don't think you'd necessarily have to hang out less. You just have to hang out with us
And a baby.
and that fucking baby, which
That's
is
true.
its own,
Yeah.
whatever. That definitely changes the dynamic for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But also I've been wanting to ask you about this, and I want to get into it now on a recording.
The moving thing.
The moving thing. So Brianna's been telling us for probably close to 6 months, maybe longer, that
I don't think it's been that long.
she wants to move to Wisconsin where they have cows. And yeah, no, we said the same thing, dude.
Why?
Okay, so
What's-
my thought process, I'm not moving there because they have cows. I'm moving I
Cows.
want to move there because A, it's cheaper to live there.
Yes.
I could buy a house there.
Yeah.
I could not buy a house here.
Hmm.
2, I feel like the people in the Midwest are more normal. And people that live in Denver are kind of unstable.
Psychotic? Yeah.
Yes. I've noticed that like people who move to Denver, and I think I will include myself in this.
I'm also included
Section.
in this. The transient.
Well, yeah, but I don't think like your motivation for moving to Denver was because Janie lived here. Like,
Yeah.
but I think people who don't know anybody in Denver, like they move here because they're having some sort of like identity crisis, and they think like, oh, I'm gonna move to Denver. There's mountains. It's nice there. Like
I might
cool
be
people.
gay.
Yeah, cool people live there. I think people like just they up and decide to move here because they think it will make their life better.
Mm.
And so in my mind, like people who live in Denver, they're
And
just
then it doesn't.
they're just all over the
Spoiler
place.
alert.
And then your life
Yeah.
doesn't get better and you hate it. So yeah, I think that's another part of it where I'm just like, I just want to move somewhere where like people aren't crazy.
You also live downtown Denver.
So yes. So then recently I've been on the fence about this move because my friends are here. I have 2 friends in Wisconsin. So making new friends is gonna be annoying
And not even 2 friends that are like
my best friends.
that you're like
No.
ridiculously close to.
No, I worked with one of them in college for like a year. She's also from Ohio. Like I think we would become really good friends if we lived in the same place. But also she's a spin instructor and I feel like that's its own brand of crazy.
Yeah. That you fucking nailed that one. That's like a yoga teacher. Like,
yeah.
hey, we need them. We need them
'em.
around.
But
I go to yoga every time.
she's waking up at 4:00 in the morning every day to teach spin, and I'm like, oof, I'm not going to be going to those spin classes. I hate to break it to you. That's
What if this
What
is,
if I move there
This is
and
exactly what you needed, Brianna.
no.
You moved to
I become
Wisconsin
addicted
and you
to spin
you're
classes.
just you're a fucking spin gal.
No, I would
You
never.
fucking all you do is spin and you're addicted to
I would
spin.
not do that.
Sweat
I read-
becomes your religion.
I recently read something about people who go to like their first spin classes and end up in the hospital because of something in their kidneys or liver, and I'm like, ooh, I'll avoid that. And then the other person I know in Wisconsin is she doesn't even live where I would move, so she'd be an hour away.
Yeah, you'll never hang out with her.
No, we'd hang out.
Maybe twice a year.
Yeah, we wouldn't hang out that often. So that made me second guess it, and then like I'm still in school. Then there's the in-state tuition thing.
Okay. Let me backtrack. What makes you want to leave?
I don't
Like,
think there's,
do
like,
you
one
want like a
thing.
new chapter? Do you want a new leaf? Are you like, hey, this isn't
Sounds like
quite
she
what
wants
I
to
thought
buy
it
a
was?
house.
Yeah, I want to buy a house. Is the
Yeah.
big factor, but like the thing that has second guessed like my moving, essentially now it would be next month versus later was like I'm not gonna go move to Wisconsin and buy a house like sight unseen.
No.
So my plan was like I would go to Wisconsin, rent, like sign a lease for however long, and then like figure out where I want to like buy a house at.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, do I want to rent an apartment in Wisconsin
For a year,
Which is what
For
you're
a
already
year.
doing here. Yeah.
which is what I'm doing here, and like I want to move to Wisconsin, but winter in Wisconsin sucks.
winter
I'm
sucks
walking-
here.
So I'm renting a place in Wisconsin. I'd have to walk the dogs. And
Yeah,
I'd probably rather walk the dogs in winter here than Wisconsin.
yeah.
And then I was talking to Janie and Tyler about this at the Super Bowl party last weekend, and she's like, "Why don't you just go visit Wisconsin like in the next, like a couple times or whatever, or like once, like stay there for a bit, look at neighborhoods, blah 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 blah, and then you can like figure out like where you want to buy a house, and that way you're not like renting for a year there." But you still can you can go there and figure out like what neighborhoods you would want to buy a house in. I don't know.
I think that's a pretty good middle ground. I would also say while you're over there and looking at places to live, just go out to the bar, see what kind of vibe it is out and about and stuff.
Right.
Don't make it like a huge commitment straight away because you could end up fucking hating it and then struggling to
Yeah.
save the money to move back to Colorado or wherever it is you want to go.
Yeah.
And if you're locked into
That's
a
also a
house
good
as
point.
well.
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah, I've been to Wisconsin before. I visited my one friend who doesn't live in the city that I would move to.
Mhm.
And it's a great place. But yeah, I feel like maybe I'll...
I mean,
I feel like-
visiting a great place
yeah.
as well
Yeah,
versus living
that's
there.
true. That's true. But then you did bring up I do live downtown, and I think I wanted to be someone who lived downtown, but I
Ugh.
am not a person who wants to live downtown.
Downtown fucking blows cocks.
So yeah,
Unless you're like like literally
22?
yeah 22. If you're 22 living in downtown Denver, it sounds like a fun time.
I think when I moved downtown, well, I moved downtown to be closer to work, and then the week that I moved to my apartment, they were like, COVID hit, and they're like, well, we're not coming back to the office ever. And I was like, cool, I just moved here.
Sweet.
But I was like, oh, like it's fine, like, you know, maybe I'll find stuff to do there. And I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to live downtown anymore. So if I stay here, I think I would I would move out.
Well, you're quickly running out of fucking time, Brianna.
Yeah, I have like a month and a half.
Yeah, well, let me...
Left on your lease, or?
Yes, my lease ends March 31st.
But I assume you have to give them some kind of notice, no?
I only have to give them 30 days, so I do have 2 weeks to
You have 2 weeks.
to make
All right,
this
Mike, and that's
decision.
what we're doing on this podcast.
Well, no, so the thing is like now that I've thought about this all week. Like I was having like not a crisis, but I think like the first time I
Seems like a crisis.
the first time I was really like, oh, I think I am second guessing this.
Was that the Super Bowl?
Was at the Super Bowl. And so yeah, I was like, I gotta.
I
think about
hosted a
this.
Super Bowl party at my house for my friends.
Yeah, it was a good time until
Yes.
you start second guessing your life choices.
Yeah, that happens. Yeah, for sure.
Well, let me explain, because I've very much been like, go on, get.
Yeah, you've been kind of rude about it.
He does that.
But I think, yeah, no, I'm kind of rude about things.
I think the
you're
way
a bit of
that,
a rude
like,
cunt. Yeah.
I think the way that you mean it, though, I think you mean it in the sense that, like, you don't want to feel like you're holding your friends back. Like, you want your friends to grow. You want your friends to, like, do what they want to do.
For sure.
And like,
I've,
not Jonah, Janie and, like, Tyler, like,
they want to hold on to you. They want to sink their fucking
their
claws
strategy
in.
is, like, guilt trip. Like, oh,
And
you're
I
going to
hate
miss
that.
this. You're going to miss this. And I would be lying if I said, like, that does kind of play a part. Like, I do have a little bit of FOMO.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for setting your gin down on my tax documents.
That's what gin drinkers do,
That's what
bro.
gin's for.
But okay, so yes, I am kind of a shit, and I do enjoy, kind of like, especially when everybody else is like, no, please
You gotta balance
stay.
it out,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Go
get the
on.
fuck out of here.
Have you ever seen Air Bud?
Yeah.
You know the scene where he's like, get out of here, I don't want you anymore.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah,
like
yeah.
crying and he's
Yeah,
so
that-
sad and he obviously wants the dog.
That's me.
That's you and I'm the dog.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just had to throw an Air Bud reference in.
I'm not exactly like that, but yeah. but also, I think I'm someone, Mike and as well, is like, we're people that have moved a lot
Right.
in our lives and like relocated a lot, and you do learn a lot of different shit along the way, and like
Right.
you learn different that people live differently in different states,
Mhm.
and like
Yeah.
it's a different vibe for sure, and I wouldn't want to deny you that, but also the grass isn't greener.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
hey, this is where all your friends are.
I think like also I feel like I made this decision like peak decision. I guess it's not really a decision if it's not finalized, but like I think like the thoughts of moving hit me like peak seasonal depression where I was just like,
Yeah.
I'm miserable. I hate life. But then I'm like, ooh, my seasonal depression will probably be worse in Wisconsin.
That's a
Less
good point.
Less
And they
people
have
around you to
mosquitoes.
bring you
Janie
out of
reminded
it.
me.
They have
Oh,
mosquitoes.
yeah.
They got a
Mad
lot of mosquitoes in the
mosquitoes.
Midwest. Yeah.
Yeah,
Whoa.
And
mad
I
mosquitoes.
get eaten alive by mosquitoes.
Me too.
They're
So
the size
I
of
could
golf
probably push
balls,
them off,
bro.
but-
Midwest mosquitoes are massive.
Yeah,
man.
my
That's
legs
this-
are pretty terrible.
Is there mosquitoes in Australia?
Oh yeah.
I figured
Oh,
there
yeah.
would be.
There was a video put up the other day on Facebook of a dude. I think he was Airbnb-ing. It's like up in Darwin or somewhere. And there's a light, and there's no glass windows, right? They're all just screens because there's no aircon in this place. But you look outside, and there's like a naked bulb just out on the porch, and you can't even see it. You can just see the light shining through the cloud of mosquitoes that are just flying around it. Horrible.
That's a no for me.
But I did want to ask, like, because you moved from Texas to Colorado for kind of a similar reason, wasn't it? To be closer
Yes.
to friends and stuff. Is that the
Well,
main thing that's making you think you don't want to move, or is there other places you've thought about moving, not just Wisconsin?
no. So I think I moved from Texas to here. Yeah, because I knew people here,
Hmm.
like Maggie and Courtney, who was Maggie's girlfriend at the time, were moving here, and then one of my good friends from college lived here. But I hated the weather in Texas. Like the summer was truly disgusting, and so I was
Hmm.
like, oh, I'm not trying to go through another Texas summer.
I love Texas
No,
summer.
it's so hot. It's humid. There are mosquitoes. So I was like, oh yeah, I'll
Didn't give
come.
a
I'll
fuck.
just move to Denver. And yeah, I was like 22, so I was like, oh, I'm
Hmm.
young.
You moved here when you were 22? No.
Yeah, 22.
You weren't 22 when
I
you
was 22 and a half. Yes.
You haven't been here for 5 years.
4
Yeah, roundabouts. Because
half.
she moved up there the same time
Well,
you did,
4.
right? Or just before you did.
I was probably what?
No, I turned 23 here.
6 months behind you.
Yeah, you moved here like summer. I moved here March of 2019.
Yeah.
So I've been here
been a
4
while.
years.
Mm.
Which no, but I turned 23 here. Because I remember no, I didn't. I turned 23 in Austin. I was 23, I guess. But I was still like, I'm 23, I'm young. I'll just move to Denver for a bit.
Right, and
Here
now
we
and
are
now
4
you're
years
now
later.
you're slowly feeling that like mid-youth crisis.
Yeah, and I think you're right. Like I think part of it is that I live downtown, and I'm like I don't relate to people who live downtown.
Yeah, just
No.
move out to the
I
They're
suburbs.
think-
fucking nutso,
yeah,
bro.
so I think I'll
Yeah.
move.
Have you like? I mean, it's not like it's any super ridiculously cheaper to live in the
But
suburbs.
it's still cheaper. And like
Yeah.
in my apartment now, I don't have a dishwasher and I don't have a washing machine.
That
Which
blows
I think also
costs.
contributes to my like I hate it here.
If you,
I think like if I just lived somewhere where I had a washing machine and a dishwasher that like had grass around it,
I think you'd be
I'd be
okay.
okay. I think I'd be okay.
So okay,
For at least a bit. I still like the part of like the wanting to buy a house thing is also like I want a house because I don't want a house just to have a house. Like I want a house because I want a yard
right,
Mm.
because I have dogs.
and
And so like
you want to mow your yard.
well, I would I
Yeah.
want to mow the yard.
Like I don't think
I want to own tools.
Brianna,
I want a
I-
garage with tools.
I want to keep my tools in your garage.
Yeah.
Odd, but okay.
That sounded a
it
little-
sounds
kinda
like it's
sexual,
a
didn't it?
little bit sexual, yeah.
We'll cut
yeah.
that out for Janie's sake.
I'm gonna make a clip of
Meant
that
to.
just for the page.
But yeah, like I want a garage and I want a yard.
Mm.
But like I just don't know if that like that.
I want to
that's gonna
come
happen
over
anytime
to a
soon
barbecue at your in
in
your
my
yard
backyard,
and like
yeah.
help you weed eat.
We'll have a cornhole board.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Well, have you ever seen those videos of like people who use like weed whackers to, like trim the edge of their driveway?
Mm.
Mhm.
I want to do that, and I
It's
want
good.
to. Yeah, I want to mow the yard. But yeah, I just like don't know if that won't happen in Denver for sure.
I mean, you could move to like Parker. You could move
Yeah.
to probably
I think-
Arvada.
yeah,
you
I
could
think I
move
just-
Aurora
I
if you
really-
wanted to.
Jumped the gun on like the. I will only move to Wisconsin to buy a house.
yeah, no
and
shit.
I think I'm gonna give it another year.
So are you just gonna renew your lease?
No, I have to move. I have to move out of my apartment. I don't want
Get
to
it-
downtown.
get
I've, like,
out of
decided
downtown.
fully. I was like,
Yeah.
either I move to a different place outside of like downtown Denver, or I move to Wisconsin.
Where are you thinking? And this is honestly like a Denver conversation, so I assume this is bad podcasting. But
I don't know. Probably south.
okay.
Yeah,
Me and Janie are looking at buying a house south this year
yeah,
as
that's
well.
what she was saying.
Mm.
Like old H ranch.
Yeah, dude. There's this suburb of Denver called Highlands Ranch, and it's literally the widest place you could probably think of, dude. Like I'm talking,
They got
like,
it all though.
Yeah, I'm talking super targets as far as the eye can see.
Suburbs.
There's a Super
and
Target. They've got
footpaths,
a Whole
parks.
Foods,
Yeah, lots
Whoa.
of
movies, parks.
yeah, dude. Like
And it's by Chatfield State Park, which has a like it's got like a 50 acre dog park.
Man, your dogs could get lost in that dog park, bro.
I know, we've been there a few times. It's pretty nice. And then there's one in Aurora too, but I don't really want to live in Aurora. I don't want to live in Aurora.
Nowhere called
Aurora's where all the
Aurora's
poor
great.
people live.
Aurora's the rough suburb of Denver.
Hmm.
Yeah, so maybe I'll look south because that was.
Well, you got
another thing.
about 2 fucking weeks.
That's plenty of time. I mean, I did like some like Googling this week, and like there are places that are like, we have places available now. We have places available in a couple weeks. I do have 2 weeks to like tell my apartment building. Well, I'm gonna tell my apartment building I'm moving regardless. Like I'm not. I don't want to live there anymore. I'm over living downtown. I'm over not having a dishwasher.
Do you need somebody to help you move?
No.
Oh, you're gonna
Damn.
hire a moving company?
I think I can. I can do it myself.
Get
You
help,
can't.
Jonah. Go over with your ute and help.
So
haul
no,
his-
here's
haul
my
his
thing.
shit.
I thought about this.
Just
and I was
ask.
Like, my two.
God, I gave you a fucking way to
No,
ask.
because I feel like I don't love helping people move, and so like I'm not gonna put that on anybody else. The biggest items I have to move are my couch, which I could just roll it on a furniture dolly.
Brianna, you're not.
Or
as your dear friend.
If you want to help me move my couch and my mattress, that's all I need.
Shut the fuck up. I'm not gonna be like, oh, I'm here for the couch and mattress.
Well, that's all I would.
Nothing
That's all I would
else.
ask you for help with. If you
Wow.
want to help me move,
Fuck.
Oh, you got weirdly prideful about this.
I just like I
I have a
don't like-
my
truck.
own shit.
I know.
Damn it, I don't need
I don't
your
like asking
help.
people for help.
You
That's
man.
like a me
Let's
problem.
let's explore that, Brianna. Fucking pull the mic.
It sounds like a little bit of trauma.
Why don't you
going
like
on
ask people
here.
for help?
I don't like feeling like a burden.
But you're not.
Which would imply that you feel like a burden
Sure.
Hmm.
whenever you do ask for people for help.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it's more like I know how unenjoyable moving is. Like no one likes
know.
moving, and so I feel bad doing. I feel bad asking people for help with like things that are like terrible.
But
I
asking
feel like
people
I feel
for
like
help.
I guess like
Oh, sorry. Go
if
ahead,
I ask
dude.
you
Go
for
ahead.
help, if I ask you for help moving, then I would. Well, I don't know how I was gonna word this. You can say what you were gonna say.
You go ahead, Megan.
I was gonna say part of the reason that moving sucks so much is because people don't ask for help from their friends. That's why it's shitty. But if you've ever moved with a group of people where you like, hey everybody, grab some beers, we'll have some pizza on the other end, we'll take everything over in a couple loads, fucking boom.
More
awesome.
more
No.
hands make less work.
No,
It's
see, my
easy.
experience is like I know so many people are like, do not ask me to move. Do not ask me to help you to move. I don't want your beer. I don't want your pizza.
They're shitty friends.
Like we're adults.
I
I'm not helping you
mean,
move.
I guess you could hire a moving
I
company.
won't do that either because I was like looking into it and it would be like $600 and I was like,
That's expensive.
I'm not moving that far to justify paying someone $600 to move my the things that I would need help moving are the couch and the mattress. And
Sure.
I could manage those by myself, but if you wanted to help me with them, you're more than welcome. If you want to help me move, I'll help you move whenever you and Janie move.
I don't even.
This isn't a tit for tat, Brianna.
Yeah, it's not a quid pro quo.
I'm not like trying to like negotiate. I'm just saying like, if I ask you to move, then you have every right to ask me.
Kind of
to
sounds
help
like
you
you're
move.
negotiating, but
Yeah.
against yourself.
No.
Even like
No, I would happily help you move. So yeah, I don't know why my thing is like I'm weird about
Brianna,
asking other people to help me move.
I'm
know?
glad you asked.
I have anxiety about asking people things. That's really what it boils down to. I never ask people to hang out because I'm afraid they're going to say no, and I don't want to ask people to help me move because no one enjoys moving.
That is interesting. I don't think. I mean, I tell something about our friendship that I have noticed about you.
I hate asking people to do things.
Yeah, I think very rarely in our friendship have you asked me to do something.
I think pre our friendship,
Hold on, hold that thought. I want to get it on record that no, I like I would enjoy helping you move because it is a shitty task that is made better by like more by having help,
Okay.
and I enjoy helping
100%.
my friends.
I appreciate that.
So I that is something
So
that
you
I would
okay.
enjoy
Then
doing.
you can help me move. I'll give you the deets.
Okay, go back to the other thing.
What was I saying?
I don't remember. What was it?
Oh, it was about
No,
like how I
fucking
don't ask
don't
people to
know.
hang out. Oh,
Yeah.
I just feel like before you and I were friends, so I guess when I was in college, I feel like I had terrible friends in college, and like that just really
I mean, Brianna, I'm not
did a
gonna.
number on my mental state. But like I
I
would ask people to
didn't.
hang out, and they would always say no, and I don't love rejection, so I was just like, okay, if people are gonna say no, then like I'm just not
I
gonna
mean,
ask them, and that has been seared into my brain.
I
I've gotten
mean,
a little bit better about that, not with you specifically, but like go
So I didn't know you back then, Brianna, but I've known some of your friend group recently, and I can say that they're probably not been the best friends either. So it seems, and I'm not saying it's a trend, but it's kind of a trend, you know. But I think that it seems, at least it seems like to me, right? And correct me if I'm wrong. Is it's like the classic story of finding friendship in the people that are giving it to you, because when you've asked for it in the past, you've been rejected and that feeling sucks. But the people that are offering it to you have often only given it to you in return for something else, like a quid pro quo. Is that kind of correct? Other than like some of your friends you met. I'm not saying all of them, but
right.
is that something that you've kind of noticed in your
Uh,
life?
hmm. No, I think the quid pro quo thing for me is like a reaction to being told no,
Hmm.
not necessarily like people would be like, "Oh, like I'll do this if you do this," or blah 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 blah. I think it's like I feel like I feel like especially in college, yeah, it was just like I'd be like, "Oh, like let's go do this, let's go do this." And it was a lot of no, but then they'd be like, "Oh, do you want to do this or do you want to do this?" And I would like jump
Mm.
at a
mm,
yes. Like I'd be like, "Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah, obviously
opportunity.
I'll hang out with you." And then I'd be like, "Oh, do you want to hang out or do you want to go do this?" And they'd be like, "No." And I'm like,
Very
"Oh,
one-sided.
okay." Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
feels very
Oh, that's
Uh,
that's interesting.
Okay.
so
And
now I'm like, "Oh, I don't want to ask because I just don't want to go through that
the
again."
one.
pain, the fear of possible rejection.
Right. Which like,
Mm.
well, even like today, when you invited me to brunch, I did text Maggie because I feel like she feels bad when she's not invited to things. So I was like, "Hey, Jonah and I are going to brunch in 30 minutes," expecting a no though, because
Oh,
I just expected a no. But she was like, "Oh, I'm at the doctor," and I was like, "Okay."
whatever.
But so I feel like I'm slightly better at a no, but I think it helped in like today specifically, like knowing like, ooh, it's probably gonna be a no, you know, like,
Hmm.
oh, I'm giving you 30 minutes notice.
So you're like, yeah, I'll ask you when I already expectedly know the answer.
Yes, because I guess now that I'm thinking about it, like it makes me feel better about myself because I'm like, well, I asked, you know,
Mm.
Oh, I see.
we're like,
Interesting.
but like you and Maggie are different people, so I'm just like, I'm asking Maggie if she wants to come and she has something else to do, she can come, and that way it's not like in a couple weeks where I'm like, oh, I went to brunch with Jonah, and she's like, well, why wasn't I invited? Now I can be like, well, I did
I
invite you,
I
you
mean
know.
that that's a whole nother sidebar that I
But
won't get into.
Yeah, we could do. I don't care, bro. Let's do
no,
it. Let's delve
uh,
deep.
But I'm more curious about this. So like you feel like you've been rejected a lot in your life, and it's made you to the point now where you
I just don't want to ask.
like
Yeah,
so like that would imply that you've had times where you've been like, oh, I have nothing to do today. You know, it'd be nice if I don't know, maybe if like me and Jonah hung out and you were just like, nah, I'm not gonna
yeah,
ask.
yeah.
I think that's why I like I'm the other extreme.
Right.
I'm just like I'll ask. And then
Yeah, and I
like
appreciate that.
I
'Cause
even
I'm like, oh yeah, sure.
I think that's a fundamental pillar to our friendship. Is that
Yeah,
I'm
if
just
you
like,
didn't ask me to hang out, we would not hang out.
no.
Not for a lack of me wanting to, but like a lack
Yeah.
of me not wanting to ask.
Damn, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Brianna, you are a very fucking complicated person.
I know it's
Like, and I'm not saying that like that I'm like, God, I hate dealing with this, because like I don't really deal with it. I just live my
yeah.
life and I interact with you as I see, as things
no,
come
my
along.
brain is a constant like
Yeah, you're a ball of fucking
anxiety.
yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that. I don't love I don't handle rejection well.
I mean, I don't think anybody handles rejection well. There's something.
Well, some people bounce back from it very easily, and like I will remember for years. I'll remember for years.
Oh, like a time that you were rejected.
Yeah, or like maybe not even like I just like, oh, do you want to go do this? And it's like, oh no, I can't. But like I remember like specific times where like I would make plans with people, and then it would be like I'd be on my way to those plans,
yeah.
or like I'd be getting ready to go to those plans. Like very last minute, people would be like, no.
That's also just like that's so fucking
I'm
shitty.
sick.
Like if
but again, I feel like I had really bad friends in college.
Yeah.
And even after college.
Yeah.
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 I would not classify you in that group.
Thank you. I was like I try pretty fucking hard to, if I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
You know, like if I agree to some kind of plan, big or small, like I'm gonna show up for it. I don't think I can even remember the last time I've like canceled on someone.
I don't remember a time where you've done that either. All of my bad memories of people are other people.
Not me, son. But I think when it comes to rejection in itself, that's something you and I have talked about on the podcast before, Mike, and that kind of goes back to like the tribal. Put that down.
Well, I just gotta make sure the dogs aren't eating something.
She's checking her living room camera to make sure her dogs.
No, I have this camera that alerts me when it's like activity alert, so like the dogs are moving, or chewing alert.
It has a chewing alert.
Yeah, but it's not super accurate. So anytime there's an activity alert, I'm like, oh, I gotta check this.
Oh, okay.
Because my one dog loves garbage.
Do you yell into it if they're chewing? Like, hey!
No, I think like my thing is like,
you're like,
if
God.
it's something terrible for them, then I'm like, I gotta go. But then I've literally never done that though. Like I've never seen them on this camera eat anything terrible. But it's also like nice to know, like, oh, I could see Moose got this piece of cardboard out of the garbage. That I like can at least
you can expect
it.
A dirty shit later.
I'm just so I have such anxiety about them like eating. I don't know what they would even get into my apartment right now.
I mean, honestly, I think you're kind of a ma. Like you're a mom with those dogs through and through.
Yeah. That's so.
For
but like you can't leave a baby. You can't leave a baby. Be like, oh, let's leave a baby monitor in my apartment and get drunk for 5 hours.
Well, you can.
You can, but I wouldn't want to do that.
I think that's what makes you a good mom.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like why it's like, oh, like that's probably a good decision to not have children, because I'm like, I don't want to give that up. You know,
the ability to leave like for 5 hours and get drunk,
or just to leave whenever I want.
Well, that's why you got to get drunk with that baby.
No, that does something to the baby for sure. Maybe not a baby.
No, maybe
but
don't feed the baby.
No. I mean, like maybe not a baby, but like a kid growing up with a parent who's drunk. I don't know.
I mean, I'm not saying be a booze.
No,
but like if you have a toddler, you can have a glass of wine. You know,
my whole family was drunk. They were all drinking all the time, dude.
I can drive great drunk.
I don't recommend that. I tried it and it didn't end well.
No, I think
drunk first aid's also really good too. Never fails. Yeah, a kid falls down, cracks their head. Easy peasy. Grab some stitches.
Put in a bandage. Yeah, some make
Pour
bandages
some
for
hydrogen
it.
peroxide down their face. Oh, it burns.
suppose.
Honestly, a much better chance than they had, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have
That's a
the
good point.
equivalent of like World War II medic training, like medical training. Like oh, your arm hurts? No, I'll just cut it off.
Better cut it
Here's
off.
a pill. Here are 8 milk thistle capsules.
Yeah. We did have some milk
Uh.
thistle today to brace for booze.
Oh, did you? How's
Fuck,
that
what was I
going?
saying? I'm pretty drunk, but I was talking about rejection and
Right.
that, like,
It's terrible.
just innately in I think the human species, like we're a tribal animal.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need community. There's a reason why I've said this before. There's a reason why the worst thing you can do to somebody is put them in solitary confinement.
Yeah, I would agree.
And by that extension, like that's why rejection is so painful.
Hmm.
And that if you're rejected from the tribe, and then I think we talked about something on one of our previous episodes, but like if people don't like you, which is equivalent to, or at least what we, even if it's not exactly they don't like you, but if they reject you in any way, that's like deeply painful because like if you're in a tribe and if people reject you, you're fucking
You're on your own.
You're out in the cold, honey bun.
Yeah. Well, I think like a rejection in any form, like whether it's meant this way or not, I think your like innate reaction, like internally, is like, oh, I'm not good enough for whatever
Right.
situation you're being rejected from. So just like, oof.
Self-worth isn't something that you just build up overnight either. It's something you have to
No.
nurture and try to build
No.
over years and years. Self-worth. Actually being able to like look at yourself and feel like, yeah, you know what? I did this thing. Maybe I didn't do it perfect, but at least I did it and I tried.
Right.
Just getting to that point is like really difficult. It's also helps when you do get rejected or something happens or somebody's a cunt to you for no reason. It helps you
Build
not take things
Right.
personally. Yeah, it's like a resilience thing. So
Right.
but,
I've seen like this video series of this girl who like her therapist was like, oh, you should try this method where she like every day, I think it's every day, she like goes and like requests something ridiculous. Like she'll go to a store, like a Target, and she'll be like, hey, can I take a shower here? Or she'll like ask a random person like, hey, can I see like the trunk of your car? Like she'll just like, it's like a ridiculous request every day because, and like she's asking a ridiculous request because it's probably going to be whoever she's asked will probably say no. And so it's like the idea that like she's getting rejected probably every single day unless you are asking like an anomaly of a person who's like, sure, take a shower here, I don't care, but it's like if you're getting no every single day, then like your ability to like bounce back from rejection is significantly higher. Whereas like I am putting myself in minimal situations to be told no.
This is interesting because
But I'm not going to go to Target and ask to take a shower,
Yes, but we also had the same job at one point.
Right.
And I've explained extensively on the podcast now how my job works.
Mm-hmm.
Is I'm essentially cold calling people. Maybe not cold calling is the best example because like, hey, we sell shit that they fucking use,
right,
or can use.
They're not unfamiliar with
yeah,
you.
And it's like business to business, so that it's definitely better than like just cold calling somebody.
Also, we have like a pretty recognizable name, so it's like even if you haven't used it before, you're like, oh, I know who you
maybe
are.
I know. Yeah, maybe I know about it.
Right.
But even still, like we get rejected.
That was
on the
for me.
fucking daily.
Yeah. That was so different for me though, because I was
really,
like,
because you're like that. Like, that's like work.
That's a reflection on our company in my mind. Whereas, like,
it's pretty difficult to separate though.
I didn't have that problem.
Really,
this is a job, and they're like, oh, vertiform. Well,
I've definitely had phone calls where is everything all right there, Miken?
I'm gonna close my blinds. Sorry, keep talking.
Oh, you're good. I've definitely had calls where like it went so poorly. The only, and this is more when I first started. Certainly, I've gotten better at handling rejection,
Right.
resiliency. But it went so poorly that I was like, they hated me.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and I don't guess I don't know why I didn't process it that same way. But yeah, in my mind, I was like, well,
They don't want the
this
shit I'm
is
selling.
yeah. I think in my mind, I don't think like consciously I was thinking this, but like subconsciously, I don't think I had a problem with it because I was thinking this is a reflection on they don't they're they don't want this product. They don't want this software. They don't like this company. It's not like
Have
it's
you
not like
have
they
you
don't
thought
like
about
me, you know.
going to Target and asking for
No.
a shower?
No, I haven't thought of it, and I'm not gonna do that.
Why
Okay,
not?
Well,
well,
I don't want to shower at Target.
well, I'm curious. So you recognize this fault
This
in
problem,
yourself,
yeah.
and you're like, I'm just gonna keep doing me, or have you had any?
Yeah.
You're like, I want to work toward getting better at this. This podcast is about growth.
Yeah, what a therapy podcast today has been. No, obviously I would like to be better at it, but I'm just like I don't
I need you
I don't
to.
want to put the work in, honestly, you know.
That's the most
Zing,
honest.
There it is.
Yeah. Like that's hard. It's hard.
That's the most honest answer I've
It's
ever
hard.
heard to dealing with a personal problem.
It's hard and I don't want to, and like maybe in the future, sure, but like in my mind, I'm like, oh, I've got a job and I have school.
School, yeah.
School it takes up so much.
You have a
more
job
time.
and a part-time job.
I have a job and a full-time job. Like I'm going to school technically full-time.
Oh, is that right?
I'm not acting like it, but I.
No, I was like,
but yeah, so I guess I have like a job and a part-time job, and then I'm just like, oh, I've got this stupid reading goal, and I will rip myself apart if I don't read. If I don't reach that reading goal.
I could see that. I could see you doing that.
We talked about it once last year where you're like, you don't have to read 52 books, and I was like, no, well, I've already said it. And I'm like, if I've made this goal and I don't make it, like I'll just feel terrible.
Like your self-worth will be
like,
impacted to the point.
Once again, we can't stick to something, you know.
Oh,
like that's what's going on in my mind. So,
you know what, Brianna? Okay. Hold on, Mike.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that I want you at least once a month to ask me to do something.
Okay, I can do once a month.
And I'm gonna deny you so fucking hard. I'm gonna be like, wow, I'd rather do anything.
What a terrible
fucking
idea.
else.
Hey, Jonah, do you want to smoke weed and watch UFC? Wow, Brianna, I would hate to do that.
Oh God, if you asked me to do that, I'd be like, even if I was supposed to say no for like resiliency building.
Well, and then at that point, like I'd be like, I already asked, I gotta commit to this.
Sorry, go on, Michael.
Say, why don't you set like smaller goals, like the once a month? Why don't you just give yourself some smaller goals to build up so that the attaining of that success isn't as
what would
monumentous.
Be like an example of that?
Oh, I don't know. Like instead of saying the first thing you have to decide is how is it that you would work on your ability to take criticism or take rejection. Like what is a thing that you see actually working in your life if you were to do it to help you learn to take it better?
Well, I think I feel like I need to commit to more things, Where I'm
commit
like,
to heaps
maybe.
though. You commit to heaps. I mean, you committed to reading 52 books in a year, which is
that's
fucking
one
heaps.
thing. But like, I'll use like me saying that I'm going to go to the office as an example. I say probably every other week that I'm going to come into the office, and I never go into the
I
office.
roast the fuck out of Brianna on the reg.
He messaged me on Wednesday. I was supposed to go into the office.
Brianna,
Wednesday.
I go up to your desk.
I know you do
every week.
I know you do
to see
and I'm like,
if you're there.
I'm going to go in on Wednesday. And he's like, I don't know. And like at the Super Bowl party, I was like, I'm going to go in on Wednesday. And Boris, our friend who also works, he's like, I was like,
Boris has been on the podcast before.
Yeah, Boris.
Boris, good time.
It was a good time.
I was like, oh, Boris, I'm going to come in on Wednesday. And he goes, I think Jonas told me he's heard this before. And I was like, oh, I've got a reputation. And I was like, I'm going to go in. And then Wednesday rolls around, or Tuesday afternoon, one of my coworkers asked me, she goes, are you going to come in tomorrow? And I was like, yeah, I was planning on it. Like my department specifically had we have a town hall meeting every month, which is basically just like a check-in on how the department as a whole is doing. And then like sometimes they introduce like new, or we bring in like people from other departments to like teach us like what they're doing and like how we can collaborate better and or whatever. But basically it's like a monthly check-in. And then we like recognize, we recognize like people who are who have done like their jobs really well during the last month or whatever. So like, yeah, I was like, oh, I RSVP to this town hall. It's in person. I was like, on Wednesdays there's free breakfast, and I was like, and then on town halls we get free lunch. I was like, oh, 2 free meals. Yeah, I'm gonna come in.
Yeah,
and then Tuesday afternoon, my coworker, my team is very small. I have my boss and then 3 coworkers, so there's 5 of us. 2 of my coworkers, they don't live in the state, so obviously they're not coming in for these. So it's my boss and me and this other girl. And this other girl, she goes, "Oh, are you coming in tomorrow?" And I was like, "Yeah, I was planning on it." I was like, "Why do you need me to come in?" And she goes, "Well, I was thinking about coming in, but I don't know for sure. But I want to show you how to do something so that you can like take it over going forward." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." And then 6:30 a.m. on Wednesday, the next day, she goes, "Oh, I don't think I'm coming in today." It was snowing. There was like, and then it was supposed to snow all day. So she's like, "I'm not coming in. Like, I just don't want to deal with like the weather." And I was like, "Okay, fine." And then my boss was like, "Hey guys, like, I'm not coming in today." And I was like, "Well, I
definitely don't gotta be there.
I'm not gonna come in.
You're like, I told my friend Jonah.
I told my friend I would come in. I told you, and I told Boris, and I was like, I don't think I'm gonna come in. My thought process being like, I do feel bad for like saying like I'm gonna come in and then like not coming in, but if my boss isn't in and then the other coworker that I have isn't coming in, I'm sitting in a group of desks by myself all day.
Well, Brianna, also,
and it was snowing, and I was like, "Oh, I don't feel like brushing my car off.
Brianna,
I'm being lazy."
I don't care.
I know, but I feel bad.
Like I'm more like I'm just like it's a reason to bust your balls.
Yes, and that goes back to
I love a good ball busting. Personally.
And that goes back to like, well, then I feel bad, not from like, oh, I feel bad for Jonah that I'm not coming in because obviously you're fine. I never come in, but it's like, ooh, I'm saying that I'm gonna do something and I'm not doing it. So like my word doesn't mean anything.
Oh, see, and
so
and this is
and I
where
know it's like in the grand scheme of thing, me not coming into the office doesn't mean anything, but like I do still feel oof, I feel bad.
Let's dissect it a bit.
I want my word to mean something, you know.
Yeah, you absolutely do, which is I think why I have the policy of like
stick to yeah.
Fucking if I agree to it, I'm doing it.
I think I have that policy like outside of work, like if a friend asks me to do something and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, and then it's let's say they ask me like 3 weeks in advance and it's like the day of and I'm like, I don't want to do this.
Like
I'll still go. Like I don't recall the last time I like bailed on like a friend.
I don't
engagement.
No, you're pretty reliable as far as friend engagements go.
But yeah, work I could be a little bit better. I could be a lot of bit better, but at the same time I'm just like, yeah, I would like to be someone who is like, I'm gonna do this and then do it.
I think that's what I'm getting at. Is like regardless if it's work or it's your personal life, there is a certain I I don't know, power in I'm saying I'm gonna do something, and then you fucking do it, and then if you don't do it, you feel like shit about yourself.
Mhm.
There's a
Yeah.
definite power there, and I fucking go through that all the time too. And I think it's honestly, I don't know if it's fear or like whatever, but like the reason why I stick to everything that I say that I'm gonna do is because I'm like, oh fuck, if I don't do that, I'm gonna fucking feel like shit about it. Like
Yeah.
reading's a good example for me. I haven't fucking read it at all. I made a goal to read like 4 days a
Yeah.
week for 30 minutes or whatever. Fuck that. But I also realized that was a pretty unrealistic goal for me.
I think that's another thing, like setting. Well, I guess not in my mind, not in my situation. Like going to the office on a Wednesday.
Who cares? I mean, you're still going to work. Yeah.
Well, yeah. But I'm like,
It's not like
that's not like out of my. It's not like an unrealistic goal. So that's especially why I feel bad about it. Cause I'm like, I can wake up a little bit earlier and go to the office. It's really not that big of a deal. But like, yeah, for me
Hold on.
last year.
The bigger problem is that you still find a way to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Even if it is a small
Well,
thing.
because I feel bad that I'm like,
you,
I'm gonna
you
go
just
do
beat,
this.
You beat the fuck out of yourself.
Well, because I think it's like it's so easy for me to get to the office. It's a 6-minute drive.
Yeah.
What am I doing? You know.
I don't know.
Well, me neither. So that's why I'm like, I could have gone to the office. You know.
I don't know.
There's a lot of harshness though, for sure.
I think you are.
I'm too hard on myself.
Brianna, I think you're talking to two people that are extremely harsh on themselves, and we run a pretty unsuccessful podcast here. And
I mean, you got a logo. You've got some followers.
You're right. I shouldn't say it's successful.
You're being too harsh.
I'm being harsh right now.
I'm being too harsh. Yeah, we're all just too harsh on ourselves.
But I think a lot of that is human nature. That we're just like, I am ruthless on myself.
Yeah.
Like if I'm at the gym, for example, and I get to fucking 10 reps, and I know I could have got to 12, but
right.
I stopped at 10. I'm like, you fucking pussy bitch, you dumb goddamn. What, you like being a weak little simp bitch? I guess you do.
But you still go to the gym like pretty regularly at this point.
Yeah.
As of recently, right?
That's what I've been not hate myself. Yes.
That one of the books I gave you for Christmas that you haven't read yet.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's one thing I'm working on, motherfucker. Goddamn.
Well, so like, it's the book on habits, and he's like, yeah. He's like, you can't beat yourself up about like not doing as well or spending as much time as at the gym as you wanted to previously. He was like, if your goal is to go to the gym 5 days a week, like if you go to the gym and if you're there for 5 minutes and you do 4 reps, he's like, well, you went to the gym, which is better than you not going to the gym, and like over time that will create like a better habit. And so it's like, if you only do 10 reps versus 12 reps, that is significantly better than you just not going to the gym at all.
For sure, but that's not
how our brain works.
That's not how I'm like.
But like, if you do that consistently, and then you're like, but you have to like maybe not go to the gym consistently and like underperform how you want to perform, but like if you have the mindset consistently that like, okay, I went to the gym, then you'll be all right.
I definitely don't have that mindset. That's a loser fucking ass mindset. Go ahead, Maiken.
It's a saying. It's that anything worth doing is worth doing poorly, and what that means is that
I've heard the exact opposite saying.
No. Listen,
I've heard the exact same phrase.
When you go and say like you're gonna walk your dog, right, and you're gonna do 10 miles with your dog, and you go out and you do 3.5. Yeah, I know that's an unrealistic expectation.
10 miles is so long.
You do like 300 meters of walking your dog, right? instead of the 6 miles, right?
Meters?
Yeah, he's
We're
in Australia.
American.
Yeah,
Feet, I don't
fucking
give a
shut
fuck. Whatever.
up,
Just
dude.
pick a fucking small
mile.
measurement.
You are-
Okay, a quarter mile.
Hold on,
all right?
bro. You are picking terrible
Listen,
metrics.
listen, you
for this
guys.
10 miles
example.
You
or
guys, I'm
a
trying to
third
make
of a
them
meter.
over. I'm trying to make them ridiculously spread out for a fucking reason. You guys are so fucking Americanized by your fucking freedom miles. Fuck's sakes. Anyway, all right. Fucking, we use dollar dues here. Our money's plastic. Or I don't know what else to tell you. Okay,
The money literally is
It's
plastic.
plastic. Like
Yeah.
it actually
dollar
is
bills?
plastic.
It's
Are they
much
you know what?
better,
coins?
actually.
It works
Are
better.
they
Yeah,
coins that are plastic?
They have
or-
coin. No. They have metal
We have
coins,
metal
but their
coins.
bills are plastic.
plastic. Heaps better.
Like hard plastic or
No,
it's flexible plastic. It's like notes. Yeah, it's heaps better. Anyway,
much
can
better.
you bring some of
That's-
that when you come here for
I
the
have
wedding?
some.
what you want me to
Where?
give you some money?
No, I just
Brianna?
want to
Is
see.
that what you're
I
saying?
just want to see.
You want me to
I
give
just
you
wanna
some
see.
money?
I just
Hold
wanna
on.
see
What I'm
how
trying
it
to-
Mike and-
feels.
Mike, and should we break here and then continue this conversation on the broach, or do you want to
Yeah.
finish your thought real quick?
If you want,
I can write it
I'll-
down.
Finish your thought.
All I'm going to say is that the idea behind something worth doing is worth doing poorly. Is that if you get out and do it a little bit, it's 100 times better than if you just don't do it at all, right? If you say I'm going to go run 10 miles, but you're like, oh, I don't have time to run 10 miles, so I'm just not going to do it, right? Well, it's better to go run for the 30 minutes that you have time for and to come back and get that run in and still get a little bit done. That's all that saying means. And it's not
I
a loser
agree.
mentality, Jonah. It's for people that don't have the drive to, force themselves to do things that they
To go
hate.
100% 5 days a week. Yeah.
Well, I think this is
Or tonight.
fundamental disconnect in the way that I think about things.
Mm.
Because I've heard
Maybe you
these.
should have your own therapy episode.
That's all this fucking podcast is, to be honest with you.
I think that's what the brooch is for.
Yeah, what was the phrase you heard?
Anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Who did you hear
Oh.
that from?
I don't remember, but
There's
Jillian
there's actually
who the fuck is that?
She's like she was one of the trainers on
The
Biggest
Biggest Loser?
oh,
Yeah.
Why did I know
fuck
that?
Oh.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah. It was a terrible show.
I'm gonna write that down.
The Biggest Loser.
All right. We need to get the fuck off this podcast. It's already gone on too long. But we will continue this conversation on the broach.
Can I say one more thing
Absolutely.
about Mike and 10-mile 10-mile walk with the dogs?
Yeah.
I took the dogs to Cherry Creek State Park
Uh-huh.
last weekend, which they have this massive, it's 100 acres, different from the one in Highlands Ranch. This is in Aurora. There's a 100-acre dog park with a creek and whatever, but it's massive, obviously, 100 acres. We did I walked the trail part of it, which is just pretty much just the loop with the dogs last weekend. They swam a bit, so we went a little bit above 2 miles. Moose, my dog, dying. He would never survive a 10-mile walk. Just 2 miles. He was like, we had to take breaks.
Hold on. Her dog is how much does he weigh now?
103.
103?
He has
What
lost
the
19
fuck?
pounds in the last year.
Still.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
He's 100
He's a big dog.
100-pound golden retriever.
Just FYI, he only needs to lose 3 to 8 more pounds. And then they're like, that's good. But he's lost 19 pounds in 1 year. And for a dog, that's pretty good.
I knew him in his youth. We lived together.
He was a skinny boy.
Yeah, he was looking
looking
pretty
good
fucking
now.
fat. For a while there,
He
I was
was. I know,
like,
Jonah
hey,
would-
Brianna. I was like, your dog's fat as fuck.
Yeah, Jonah would come over and be like, whoa, Moose is thick. And I'd be like, I think you just haven't, you live with cats. You haven't seen him in a while.
And then you went to the vet.
And then I went to the vet and he was 122 pounds. And they were like, he's got to lose some weight. And I
or
was
he's
like,
going to lose his life.
Yeah.
Your dog's gonna have heart disease
Yeah,
soon.
so now-
so-
He's on his fitness journey. He's scaled down
Yeah.
his food.
oh man, that's good though. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
we
glad
need-
he's
we need
feeling
him to
better.
lose some weight so that he can live forever.
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to.
Well, good job, Brianna.
Dogs live forever.
Thanks everybody for listening to this episode of the podcast. We appreciate it. If you want to hear us psychoanalyze Jonah, go to Patreon and join us on the Broach. You get 4 extra episodes a month. That's double the content, so go check that out.
How much does this cost?
It is $8.
And you can give more than that?
You can if you want.
Minimum
$8. Minimum $8. You can give more if you want. You don't have to. I mean, we're
you
having
get
a hard
4
time
extra
getting people
episodes
to-
a month.
That's
So,
$2 an episode.
$2 an episode.
Yeah, it's pretty
$2
good.
an
How long are
episode.
the broaches?
Another hour.
1 hour?
Yeah, she's concerned.
Whoa. No, that's a long time. That's impressive. I thought they were going to be like 15, 20 minutes.
No.
No way.
Full hour.
What do we look
How
like
do
to
you
you?
subscribe?
You go to patreon.com/.
For squash.
Forward
squash.
The Weasel.
I don't know what it is.
Forward slash.
The Weasel.
The
Weasel.
Weasel.
Is it just the Weasel?
Yes.
And it might be the Weasel podcast. No, the Weasel on Patreon. We got a little bit complicated early on,
should
and
know
now
that.
there's
Hold
too
on, hold
many
on.
different names of
Folks,
things. and
just
stuff.
wait till I confirm this URL. Patreon.com.
We don't have that
Yeah,
kind of time.
Patreon.
You have plenty of
We don't have that
time.
kind of time.
The
we start and stop
Weasel.
whenever we want to. We don't have time for this. We got shit to do.
It is patreon.com / the Weasel. That's it.
Perfect.
And you must be 18 plus
You
to
must
view
be
this
18.
content.
Just lie. It's fun.
Yeah, please
Just
lie.
lie.
You guys have
Just
4
lie.
patrons.
Oh, dude, I gotta tell you, yeah, we're up to 4. We got
Also
4
subscribe to
big
us.
homies.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on my 4th gin of the day.
Time to subscribe.
Time to
That's how we
time to
get
subscribe.
people. Honestly.
Now we got
You get 'em on
5
the
big
pod.
homies, dude.
this podcast is sponsored by Aviation Gin.
Ryan Reynolds. Ryan Reynolds
we're-
owns Aviation Gin. Fun
Is
fact.
that right?
Right.
Does he? Oh.
Yes,
Nice.
he does.
What
And
am
he
I gonna write
owns
down?
a soccer team.
Oh. Okay. Well, on
Goodbye.
that note,
We'll see
love
you
you
on
guys.
the Broach.
Goodbye. See you on the Broach.